Okay, so I have a brand new house that literally looks like a resort. I have a housekeeper who comes every other day. I have someone who is available to cook every last one of my meals, and I'm not pressed about work. Now, I do not use the term soft life, so I did some extensive research on one of our most esteemed resources, Urban Dictionary. But apparently, I'm living a soft life, and I want to give a shout out to our Nigerian sisters who created that term. And although there's a lot of definitions about what the soft life means, I'm sure most of us can agree that I'm living the so-called soft life. However, out of all the videos on the YouTube streets, nobody that I have seen is talking about how hard the soft life can be. No warnings that it was not going to be simple or that it was not going to be easy to move into that stage of my life. No one mentioned that I was going to be on the struggle bus. But first, hey, I'm Prill, and today I'm going to put you on and talk about the realities of the strong emotions that may come with living the soft life, and also how you can avoid some of these potential struggles so that you can move into your soft life era with ease. Okay, so quick story time. I knew that having people do for me was going to be very difficult and challenging for me, which is why I started working with my therapist on this about 8-9 months ago, so well before I moved. But I honestly didn't think that I would have an issue with somebody helping me because I had prayed too, but that I had prepared so much. But what I did not realize is that I was going to become so out of my depth and so uncomfortable that I was going to react in some of like the oddest ways. Okay, so let me give you an example. The housekeeper I told you about, at first, I would not let her clean my bedroom. So once I started letting her clean my bedroom, then I wouldn't let her clean the bathroom. Okay, so then I got over that, but I didn't let her do the laundry or wash the dishes or take out the trash. Even though, I mean, that's her job. And I would tell her, like, no, está bien. And she would cock her head and look at me like, this lady is a weirdo. But the reason I was doing that was because in that moment, that was the one thing that I can control. Now, I have been delivered, but it was not easy at first because it was so unexpected. All right, so let's get into it. Now, the first thing that could potentially be a struggle for you when you start living the soft life is coming into things with unrealistic expectations. Excellence and perfection has been drilled into us for so many years that you may be thinking to yourself, like, this should be easy, this is a good thing. But I want you to think about how old you are right now and how long you've been doing everything for everybody and absolutely nothing for yourself, and how long you have been spun around and around to the point where, okay, you want to do things for yourself, but you don't know where to start because you don't know who you are. So when you come into this, you may feel like, I should be further than this at this point in my life, or I'm behind the 8 ball, or saying things to yourself that are not going to build you up, and it could lend to this next thing that is huge, and that is guilt. Look, guilt, it will stop you in your tracks. It will steal the life out of you. It's a dream killer. It's destructive. It is a result of you having done for others for the majority of your life, or like for some of us, like me, our entire life. So prioritizing yourself and making yourself number one is going to feel weird. It's going to feel wrong. It may feel like you don't deserve this life. Your new self may be so different that it sends you into a lightweight identity crisis, because now that those blinders have come off and you see things clearly, you may begin to feel ashamed and like, you did something bad, or you're doing, again, something wrong. And another thing to think about is your lack of coping mechanisms. Okay, so you are in a completely new environment, you're having new thoughts, you're having new experiences, meaning that some of the things that you used to do, some of the people that you used to hang around with, some of the people that you used to call your friends, and okay, hold on, pause. Before I continue talking about coping mechanisms, I want to tell you something that my therapist told me. She said, begin to take inventory of the reactions to people that are in your life. So like someone's reaction is, oh my goodness, finally, girl, I've been wondering when you were going to begin to take off. I've been wondering when you were going to, leave that raggedy toxic job or leave their relationships, positive things like that's what you want. But when somebody makes it about them and how you're acting different and how what you're doing is disrupting the dynamic that you all have had, and if they're making comments like, oh, you acting brand new, or you think you're too good, or you're changing, if it's things like that, you want to reevaluate that friendship or relationship and the position that they have in your life. Okay. Now back to what I was saying. Because you're in this new environment, some of those things that you have relied on that would be like the benchmarks or the beacons, they are not there anymore. You do not have the same things, or like the same happy places that you did before. So having nothing that you can use to keep you steady, to keep you balanced, may have you retreat, or as I call it, go into the turtle shell, which means that you are not socializing, you are not feeling good emotionally. You are, again, allowing some of that guilt and some of that shame and condemnation and these new emotions to keep you from enjoying the soft life and keep you from living that life that you thought, the soft life would be. And that leads to another negative experience, is the reality that if you have moved, whether it's physically like I did to another country or to another city, state, whatever, or you have moved emotionally, so you've elevated, and so you don't think the same way you used to think. You don't want to do some of those things that you used to do before. You don't want to say yes when on the inside you're like, no, I don't want to do this. So you may be alone at first, and that could potentially lend to feelings of loneliness, which are different. I like being alone. I am an introvert. I do my best thinking alone. My battery recharges when I'm alone. But when my social anxiety got on 10, like I said, I retreated into my turtle shell. And I did not necessarily felt senses of loneliness, but for sure for extroverts and people who enjoy and get charged up and hyped by being around other people, that could lead to feelings of loneliness, which if you again have had people in your life and people around you that have supported you, even if it's not, where you are right now, but you still had a sense of familiarity. Now, these next couple, yes, my notes over there, may have you feeling some type of way. And, okay, let me just say it. So another feeling is that you are dealing with yourself. Okay, so let's use burnout as an example. So if you were dealing with burnout wherever you were before, and you have not done things to at least throw your hand up and say, yes, I'm burnt out, I need help. So you're moving into this life and experiencing so many new things and so many things that are potentially uncomfortable and unfamiliar, but you are the same exact person with the same exact habits, thinking the same exact thoughts. You have no boundaries. You are completely out of balance. You are headed down the wrong way on a one-way fast, and that may lead you to resisting self-reflection. So if you no longer have anyone or anything to distract you, and now it's like me, myself, and I, some of those traumas, some of those hurts, some of the pain, some of the discomfort, the strong discomfort that you may experience with these changes are going to be staring you in the face. So these things that I've mentioned, if they are not identified, if you are not being real and keeping it a buck with yourself, if these are some things that you need to work on and that you need and want to change, then the soft life is going to be really hard. Okay, so now that I've said all that and I brought the vibe down, real quick, I want you to turn to your neighbor, okay, and press that like button. And since you're already in the vicinity, go ahead and subscribe and hit the notifications bell. Okay, now I want to talk about some of the ways that you can avoid these struggles altogether. And these are going to be things that you can start today. Okay, so the first, put your hand down, is practicing self-compassion. It will definitely help you manage that guilt. It is going to redefine your self-worth. It will begin to create a foundation for a fulfilling soft life by acknowledging that your value is not attached to your productivity, to your output, to what you can do and provide. And Stephanie Perry, she calls these things fruit of the slavery tree. And you already know what I'm gonna say. One thing is for certain and two things are for sure, is I am going to tell you to get you a support system, which definitely should include some professional assistance, and to get into community with like-minded women who will cheer for you, whether it is important, whether it's in person, well, it is important now, whether it is, let me get back to it. So whether it is important, whether it's virtual, getting these things out, speaking them, bringing them out from the darkness and bringing it into the light it leads to some place that you can't even imagine right now. Please, this is what I want you to hear me when I say, please know that you do not need to continue suffering in silence, and being kind to yourself, caring for yourself, showing yourself grace and love is crucial, and it is going to lead to monumental change. Now, okay, so talking about when you are establishing that support system, I'm going to encourage you to get you a therapist, a counselor, what have you, to begin to talk about these things, and to also get into community with other Black women who initially felt alone until they found each other. Now, I first found my community with Exodus Summit back in fall of 2022. And I'm sure that there are plenty of Black women groups out there, but that is where I first learned and saw it mirrored. I saw myself mirrored in other Black women, and that has branched off into all of these subgroups that have given me sister friends who love me and I love them. So you are not alone. There are plenty of us out here to encourage, to hold us down, to keep us lifted up. That is collaboration over competition. And there is nothing, okay, let me sit back, hold on. There is nothing like being in community with other amazing Black women. And I want to encourage you to marinate on some of these things that I've mentioned today, and let me know in the comments if I said anything that was like a gut punch or made you feel some type of emotion, whether good, bad, or indifferent. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.